What is up, everybody? We are live. It's Saturday night. You know what that means. We're here for a little Saturday Night Live action, talking start, sit, all that fun stuff. Your boy Alan here. Let's see here. I'm just trying to get everything ready. I don't see as weird. There we go. There we are. Hope everyone's doing good tonight. We got a lot of bye weeks going on. Duncan, what is up, brother? Hope we're doing good. How's our lineup looking? Are we ready? Are we ready for this? I don't know. I don't know if we are ready. Um, but here we are. I know one question that we've been having is in regards to Amir Abdullah. Abdullah. Is he our starter tomorrow? He's in line to be our lead back. Um, both Alexander Madison and Zamir White are questionable tomorrow. Yes, I am. Kind of. I know I looked at my lineup earlier this week, made some moves. I know I got to take another look again tonight, make some more moves, just to make sure we're all set, right? Make sure we got everybody where we need to have them. And yeah, I don't know. Pick one: Mike Evans, Tyrone Tracy, or Josh Downs. I want Mike Evans. I like Mike Evans back. Um, as long as everything I heard was Mike Evans was supposed to be back, I hadn't really looked lately because honestly, I got to get him in my lineup. In one of my leagues, he's still listed as questionable. Um, he is on track to play. We got the early game with him tomorrow. Please say we got the noon game tomorrow, so we'll know really early. But yeah, as long as he's playing, I'm playing Mike Evans. Like it's time to get Evans back in your lineups. You know Baker's going to be super excited to have him back out there to throw the ball to. Um, Mike Evans is going to eat tomorrow as long as he's playing, and they're playing the Giants. Like, what a mess the Giants are now. Right? You bench Danny Dimes, but you don't just bench him. You make him your fourth string quarterback. Um, Somebody dropped Chase Brown in my league because they needed to get some extra roster space, and I picked them up. Nice. Yeah, I like Chase Brown going forward. I think Chase Brown is a nice addition. He's definitely somebody that you want to have in your roster, in your lineup, if you've got him. He's been playing really good as of lately, especially in your PPR formats. I like what Chase Brown is has brought to the table. Of course, obviously, we're not playing him this week, right? He's on the bye week, but I mean, just kind of looking at the last several weeks, 16, 17, 24. Real good performances the last 3 weeks. 86 yards rushing, 5 catches for 57 yards last week. The week before that, 42 yards rushing, a touchdown, 9 catches for 52 yards. The week before that against Vegas, 120 and 5 catches for 37 yards and a touchdown. Coming out of the bye, they got Pittsburgh. It'll be a little bit of a tough matchup, but still. And then Dallas, week 14. He's a must play in week 14. Must play. NFC North is still low. NFC North is that's that your Super Bowl champion is coming out of there, and that's right. The Detroit Lions. Um, Packers over the Bears. Yes, the Bears suck. That's just all there is to it. That's why you guys will get the win this week, Duncan, because you got the Bears, right? Um, but I ain't really done much with my lineups. And hey, just a heads up to those of you over on X watching, welcome. We do Saturday Night Lives here. We just got the ability to start going live over on X. So Saturday nights between 10 and 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, I come live answering all your start sit questions. So if you guys got any questions over there, let me know. We'll talk about it and go over it. Purdy and Bosa are out. Yeah. Not looking good for the 49ers. But here's the thing, whoever's playing quarterback, and it's like Brandon Allen is the quarterback for the 49ers, he's going to be just fine. Because here's the thing, it doesn't matter who they put in there at quarterback. You know, they always do pretty good. So look for Brandon Allen to have a pretty decent game, but that's probably a heavy dose of CMC. They have weapons, right? I mean, they've got plenty of weapons to throw the ball to. Juwan Jennings is healthy again. He's looking good. Ricky Purcell's healthy. He's looked good in the limited action that he's had here as of lately. CMC's back. Jordan Mason, George Kittle, Debo Samuel. I mean, there's just tons of weapons over there. And it's a QB friendly system. Like it just seems whoever Kyle Shanahan puts in there does good. That's just all there is to it. Just runs a good system for the quarterbacks over there. So, especially if you're in a super flex league, you need two quarterbacks, right? And the pickings have been slim here lately. You know, you go out there and you pick up Tommy DeVito if you need a second quarterback with all the buys that we have this week. Tommy DeVito and Brandon Allen are guys that you should be able to pick up and be able to plug and play, right? If you need that quarterback action, again, if you're in a super flex where you're playing two QBs, depending on the size of your league, pickings are slim, right? A lot of teams will pick up that third quarterback. So unless somebody gets hurt and ends up playing, or guys get benched, right? Um, that's it. Speaking of that, if you're in one of those super flex leagues, go and pick up Danny Dimes if he got dropped. He's going to get picked up by a team and he's going to end up playing again this season. That's all there is to it. A bad team is going to go ahead and pick him up and he's going to end up getting in there and playing. He'll probably clear waivers because of that huge contract, right? But once he clears waivers, he's going to sign for a veteran minimum type thing just to get out there and get on a team and possibly play. I could see, I've been joking around with everyone out here in Dallas, but I could see Dallas signing him. I really could. Jalen Waddle or Jonnu Smith as a flex number 2. Well, I mean, it's crazy that we're even asking that question, Slap, because beginning of the season, you never would have asked that question. But Jalen Waddle has just been non-existent this year. Like 3 targets last week, 2 catches for 37 yards. He just Tua hasn't been throwing to him. Meanwhile, on the other side of things, Jonnu Smith, he's outscoring him. He's getting more targets. He had 6 targets, 8 targets, 6 catches, 101 yards, 2 touchdowns. 3 targets, 45 yards, 5, 46, 4 for 20. He's outperforming Jalen Waddle on a daily on a weekly basis. Like I can't in good conscience say I know you're saying Waddle, Duncan, and trust, but here's the thing. Here's what you trust. Jonnu Smith has outperformed him every week. Every week, Jonnu Smith is outperforming him. And we keep saying Waddle's going to be fine. Waddle's going to be fine. Waddle's going to be fine. I can't say it anymore. Like it just gets to the point to where you say, "I'm sorry." Now, I mean, I can't even go out there and say that Waddle's got a higher ceiling because Waddle has done nothing for us this year. He's done absolutely nothing. And you would thought once Tua came back, Waddle would get back into the offense, but no. I mean, 37 yards last week, 57 the week before, -4 the week before that. He did have the touchdown, 45, 11, 46, 36, 26, 41. I mean, week 1 is really the only week where he's had a lot of yards. He had 5 catches for 109 yards, but I just don't know that we could play him anymore. Like most weeks he's getting 2 to 3 targets. He's got a couple in here where he's got 6, but he's just not that guy anymore. They're playing the Pats who are bad against wide receivers. Yes, but they're bad against tight ends too. So I'm sorry. Here's the thing. I can't do it anymore. Waddle's he's burned you week in and week out. So I'm gonna go Jonnu Smith, and I hate to say Jonnu Smith, but he's outperformed Waddle every week. Right? And it gets to a certain point to where you say, Okay, do I just keep rolling with Waddle and hope he pulls through? Or do I go with the guy who's been outperforming him every week on the same team? That's the other thing. They're both on the same team. So we've just seen the production out of Johnny Smith more this year than we have Jalen Waddle. It's a flex position, so you can play either one. I mean, is this the week that you keep saying every week in and week out? Is this the week for Jalen? Is this the week for is? And it never is, right? Even when he gets a touchdown, he has negative yardage, which is insane. So I'm gonna go Johnny Smith, just based on the simple fact of just the production all year. And that's a sentence I don't think I ever would have uttered before before now, right? No one's ever asked that question, Jalen Waddle or Jonnu Smith, because it hasn't been a question, but now it is. Now it's a question. It's a question that you have to ask. And in order to answer that question, you just look at what they've been doing. And you look at with Waddle, yeah, we say, okay, you know, yeah, he's going up against the Pats. The Pats are bad, right? Well, what about all the other bad teams he's gone against and he hasn't produced? You know, it's you just can't do it. I don't know. I can't do it. I'm going Jonnu Smith in that option, and that's what I'm going to go with. You know, and it sucks because like the thing is with Jalen Waddle, you took high draft capital with him. You drafted him high to get him to be a top performing wide receiver, and you've gotten absolutely nothing out of that. We've gotten nothing out of him all year. Outside, like I said, week 1. Is this a good for RB Devin Achane, JT, James Cook? Yeah, no, that's pretty good. Now you're going to run into who am I going to play, right? And that can sometimes bite you in the ass when you've got too many good players at a certain position, right? I'm kind of a little bit JT. I'm kind of a little bit down on right now. Production hasn't quite been there the last few weeks. I'm more so Devin Achane's been great since Tua's come back, but we knew that was going to kind of happen. He needs the threat of the pass to open up those lanes. He's not a kind of a pound guy. He needs those open lanes to kind of do his thing. And then James Cook, right? Those are my two. I'm playing those two for sure. Devin Achane and James Cook are my two that I'm going to play. And then JT or Chase Brown, depending on the matchups, will be my flex. Those will be my flex options. So, wide receiver CD, Terry McLaurin, Josh Downs, Mike Evans. Yeah, the only problem is what are we going to get out of CD going forward? I'm not sure. And Josh Downs. We had a good show for Josh Downs last week with Anthony Richardson back in the starting role. Is he going to continue that? You hope so, but we don't know. I'm still down on Anthony Richardson. I'm not a big fan, but Terry McLaurin's been having a great year, and we know Mike Evans is going to do what Mike Evans does, right? Especially with no Godwin there. Your guy is Mike Evans, and they've been doing great with him, without him, but they're going to do even better with him. Baker's excited to have him back for sure. Baker is super excited to have him back. So, yeah. So my two guys I'd be playing there are Terry and Evans. CD would be my number 3 wide receiver of that set, and then we'll see what's going on with Josh Downs. That's where I'm sitting at with this. Again, welcome everyone over on X. We just got the ability to start going live over there on X, so you'll get me here every Saturday night between 10 11 p.m. Central Standard Time, answering all your start-sit questions. So if you guys got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I get to every question that comes through here. I'm typically live for about an hour, but hey, if we've got weeks where we've got more questions, I'll stay live later. We're also live on Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, recapping the previous week and taking an early look into the next week. How many are on X? We got a lot over on X right now. We currently got 27 viewers over on X, so welcome everybody over there on X. So, and if you're watching over here on YouTube and you haven't followed us over on X, go drop a like. Drop a like over there. Drop a follow. We would definitely appreciate it. And if you're over there on X, check us out over on YouTube as well. Drop a follow over there. Tons of shorts that we drop over there. A lot of content we drop over on YouTube. So here we go. So Turtles, what's going on? Hockenson or Jonnu Smith? All right, let's take a look at Hockenson and his matchup for this week. They're playing the Bears. So a little bit of a tougher matchup. We're not getting typical Hockenson. His playing time has been increasing. He's only been playing in about just under 50% of the snaps, but they are looking for that number 2 increase. Last week you had 2 catches for 13 yards on 3 targets. The week before that, I mean, big week against Jacksonville, but no surprise, right? 9 targets, 8 catches, 72 yards. His first week back against Indy, 4 targets, 3 catches, 27 yards. I do like the matchup against the Bears. While the Bears defense does play pretty good, they give up the 22nd most, or 22nd. They're 22nd in giving up points to tight ends, so they're tougher against tight ends, right? Jonnu Smith, we already looked at it. They're playing the Patriots, a little bit of a tougher matchup on that side of things, but he's been playing pretty great. I want to say Hockenson, I really do. As long as he continues to see that increased playing time, that's really going to help. But I can't ignore the production that we've been getting out of Jonnu Smith. He's been looking good. It's a tough call, but I'm going to say Hockenson just barely on this one. You could actually kind of see similar production out of both tight ends tomorrow. I just hope they're looking for Hockenson to kind of step it up and start playing a little bit more. And so with that increased playing time is going to come the increase, right? Tough matchups for both tight ends. The thing that you're going to get with Hockenson is I think that offense is going to spend more time on the field versus the Bears than that Miami offense versus the Patriots. The Patriots offense is better than the Bears offense, so they can actually maintain some drives. Whereas the Bears they've just been awful. Like there's no way to sugarcoat it. A new offensive coordinator. This will be week 2 with the new offensive coordinator. We'll see if I don't see anything changing, but I'm going to go Hockenson. It's just barely. For me, I think you're going to have a decent amount of production out of both of them. I think Hockenson definitely has a pretty high end, but we've also seen a high end out of Jonnu as well, right? I mean, Jonnu had himself a nice week last week with 6 catches, 101 yards, and 2 touchdowns. But outside of that, I mean, he hadn't scored a touchdown since week 7 against the Colts. So I do like the production we've been getting out of him, but I just look for Hockenson just to continue to improve, to continue to get better as he gets healthier, as he starts to trust that knee a little bit more, because some of it's a matter of him just trusting his body, right? And trusting that knee and knowing that he can make the moves and make the cuts and not re-aggravate it, not re-injure it, as he's ramping up, getting in more football shape. After having not played for so long, right? But yeah, give me Hockenson, but just barely. And thanks for the question, Turtles. Appreciate it, man. What else we got going on? We got a ton of bye weeks this week. Like, it's insane. Like, the way that the bye weeks worked out. Week 12. Like, I'm pretty sure there's 6 teams on a bye week this week. Yeah, we got the Falcons, the Bills, the Bengals, the Jags, the Saints, and the Jets all on a bye this week. Insane the amount of teams. Thanks, man. How about Geno or Herbert? I like Herbert. I mean, just right off the top, I say Herbert. They're playing Baltimore. Baltimore's defense isn't great. Um, they got the Monday night game. I mean, Baltimore right now gives up the third most amount of points to quarterbacks. And I love the way that Herbert's been playing lately. He's been playing. It's the first part of the season was a little bit rough for Herbert. I actually came into the season with extremely high expectations for Herbert. I thought Herbert was going to be a top 5 fantasy quarterback. And the first part of the season, he was not. But he's become more comfortable in that Harbaugh offense, and him and Harbaugh have been working together a lot more. The wide receivers have started to come on. Quentin Johnston's been playing great as of lately. Lad McConkey's been playing good. J.K. Dobbins, the run game has been really good there. So I definitely love the performances we've been getting out of Herbert here lately. Geno, on the other hand, they're playing Arizona, a little bit of a tougher matchup. And we just haven't had the production out of Geno that we kind of gotten used to as fantasy owners, really. I mean, last week, San Francisco, a tough matchup, 221 yards, an interception, 4 rushes for 29 yards and a touchdown. The week before that, he had a good showing against the Rams with 363, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Before that, 212 yards and an interception against the Bills. Atlanta, 207, 2 touchdowns. I feel like Smith's production's kind of been all over the place. I don't feel like he's been getting better this season versus Justin Herbert, who has been getting better as this season has gone on. Look for Herbert to have himself another big game this week. The battle of the Harbaugh brothers Monday night, dude. I'm looking forward to that game Monday night. I think that's going to be a really fun game Monday. Decent amount of offense. That Ravens team is really going to have to fight and claw for the points because that Chargers defense has been playing great. But yeah, give me Herbert in that matchup over Geno. Again, yes, I'm a huge Herbert fan. But the production has just been there, and he's just been getting stronger and stronger with each week and been playing better and better every week. I think it's 4 out of the last 5 weeks he's had you 2 touchdowns, and the other week he had 1 touchdown. So I look for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns production wise. Maybe 3 touchdowns. Again, Baltimore gives up the third most points to quarterbacks this year. So look for a big week out of Herbert. I know I'm starting Herbert. Not starting Geno, but I don't have Geno in any of my leagues. So not an option for me. So hope that helps you, Turtles. Hope that helps you. But yeah, a lot of bye weeks this week. It's insane. Like I don't think we had any bye weeks last week. We had 6 the week before, none last week, 6 this week. Like, what's the NFL doing? Like, what are we doing with these bye weeks? Like, let's straighten it out. Let's make it even throughout every week, you know? Um, and the NFL cares about fantasy football, right? And that's the thing. Like, you could say, well, the NFL doesn't care about fantasy football. No, the NFL's as popular as it is because of fantasy football. Thanks, man. Heading out. Hey, Duncan, thanks for coming by, brother. Appreciate you as always. Hey, get those dubs tomorrow, man. Let's lock up those dubs. But the NFL cares about fantasy football. It's as popular as it is because of fantasy football. If it wasn't for fantasy football, the NFL would not be as popular as it is. That's all there is to it. So straighten out these bye week situations, right? Why do we have 6 teams on a bye week, 1 week, none the week after that, and 6 the week after that? Why don't we make it 4, 4, and 4, right? Take 2 teams from that week, 2 teams from that week. Bam, here we go. All right. That's right, Duncan. Get those dubs. Dubs up. Yeah, let's fix the bye week situation. Let's even it all out. Once you start the bye weeks, 4 teams a week. Right? Start week 5, 4 teams a week, run it all the way through. Boom. And we don't have these weeks where we have 2 teams on a bye, 3 teams on a bye, 6 teams on a bye. Let's just even it all out. Makes sense. I feel like that would be a lot easier for the scheduling department, right? Okay, with these 4 teams, you take out 2 games a week. It gives you, and you got some weeks like this week where you've got 3 less games because you got 6 teams on a bye. Well, let's not have 3 less games in a week, right? Let's narrow it down to 2. You do 2, you got that extra game. It's just, I don't know. I don't know. It makes sense to me. I don't know why it doesn't make sense to the NFL because it's been like this for years and years and years. I don't get it. But whatever. Whatever. So I'm going to take a look at some of my teams while we wait for some more questions to come in. Again, guys, this is about you. Saturday Night Lives is about you answering your start sit questions. Um, just making sure you guys are set. You guys are good to go. As I go through this, I'll talk about some of the guys that I have on my team and who I'm going with over who, right? So that'll give you a little bit of a this guy or that guy type feel. All right. In this league here, I'm starting Justin Herbert, Jameson Williams, Debo Samuel, J.K. Dobbins, Ramondre Stevenson, Hunter Henry, Xavier Leggett. On my bench, I got Stafford on the bench going up against Philly. That's a tough matchup. James Cook, obviously, he's on the bye this week. Josh Downs, I just don't like the matchup for Josh Downs this week. I don't like the Colts matchup against the Lions because we've seen what the Lions have done against bad teams. And the Colts are a bad team. It should be a high scoring affair for the Lions, low scoring for the Colts. Even with the Lions, I got the news that Terrion Arnold's going to be out. The rookie's been playing great this year. He's good for a couple pass interference penalties a game, but outside of that, you don't really hear his name because he shuts down the other receiver, right? He's had some real good matchups this week, but the Lions have some depth at the cornerback position. I don't think it's going to hurt them that much with him being out. Plus, you still have those safeties back there. Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch are just they're the 2 best safeties in the league. Like honestly, they're playing insane football. They're great. It's what's really helped that Detroit defense become a lot better this year. So I don't like Josh Downs this week. I don't like Michael Pittman. I don't like Jonathan Taylor. I don't like Anthony Richardson this week. Those are all guys that I do not like this week. I love Detroit. Detroit is just having their way with teams offensively, especially bad teams. And the thing is, they're not going to take their foot off the throttle. It's going to be the late fourth quarter before they start bringing in the subs because they're just going out there to just embarrass teams, murder teams, put up the points, just keep the pressure on. Because that's kind of something they didn't do last year. Like they kind of took the pressure off last year, and that came back to bite them in the NFC Championship game. I really feel like that did against the 49ers. They were rolling in the first half, and they came out in the second half, and they completely changed their game plan and didn't keep their foot on the throttle. So this year, they're like, hey, we took our foot off the throttle, and then when we realized we had to put it back on, it was too late, right? So they're just not going to take their foot off the throttle this year. They're going to be all guns a-blazing the entire time. So you can expect big weeks out of David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Sam Laporta's been kind of up and down. I do like the matchup for Laporta this week. I do like him against the Colts. He's kind of on a week-to-week basis. He's actually been doing every other week here as of lately. So he's due for this week if that trend continues with Laporta. So look for kind of a big week out of him. When I say big week, he's going to have a 40-yard big play, right? And a touchdown. Probably going to get you like 50 yards and a touchdown this week. So that's kind of where I'm sitting at with that. But I just don't like the Colts this week. I like the Lions. Of course, I got Drake London on the bench. Kind of. If you're looking for a running back, and you're like, there's nobody out there. Amir Abdullah looks like he's going to be starting. Now, it's a tough matchup. Let's not get that twisted. A tough matchup against the Broncos. But if you need someone with 6 teams on a bye, he's a guy that's out there in a lot of your leagues still, that you can go out there and pick up. And with Zamir White and Anthony Madison both battling injuries and both looking like they're not going to play, Amir's a guy he's gonna get the playing time. Um, he'll be a little bit better in your PPR formats because I do see him catching the ball out of the backfield some, but he's not a guy I'm excited about. But he's a starter that's going to be out there for you to go and pick up with so many teams on the bye this week. And again, the teams that are on the bye all have running backs that we're using. We're using Bijan Robinson. We're using James Cook. We're using Chase Brown, Alvin Kamara, Breece Hall, even Braylon Allen to a certain point. Now Jacksonville, I'm out on Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby. They just don't. The run game's just not there for Jacksonville. So I'm kind of out on those guys. But again, you need somebody. You need a body. You're hurting. Amir Abdul is a guy that you can go out there and you can pick up and you can plug and play for a week and help you get through this bye week. I like the Texans defense this week. The Texans have a nice matchup against Tennessee. Tennessee's offense just hasn't been good. Tennessee gives up the most points to defenses. So look for that Texans defense to kind of tee off on them over there. Christian Watson is a guy. I've got him on my bench here. He's just kind of been all over the place. He had a decent week last week, 4 catches on 4 targets for 150 yards, but it's only 4 catches, right? And that's kind of what he's getting you. I mean, 2 weeks before that, 3 catches for 37 yards, 4 for 39, 1 for 9, 3 for 68. We're just not getting the production out of Christian Watson that we kind of thought he was going to have. The good news is you didn't use a lot of draft capital on him. You drafted him pretty late in your draft. But yeah, I don't. He's another guy that I just don't like this week. We just haven't gotten the production. Now he might be someone that you need to play, just simply based off the fact of, again, 6 teams on the bye and 6 teams that all have receivers that we're using. Right. Move on to my next league. Right now, in my starting position, again, I'm just now kind of checking some of this out. But I got Kyler Murray against Seattle. Xavier Leggett is a guy that I like who's been playing better. Okay, we got John coming in here with a couple questions. I'll take a break from this. John, Waddle or Thielen? I don't necessarily like either of those options, John. I we've been talking a lot about Waddle today. And just Waddle just hasn't been good. Now Adam Thielen he's coming off the injury. He's still listed as questionable right now. He's been limited in practice all week. What time are they playing tomorrow? A noon game, so we'll know before the game start. But I'm gonna go with Waddle in this case, and here's my reasoning with Waddle. Again, we haven't gotten anything out of Waddle. Thielen, he hasn't played yet, but I'm going with a guy who's healthy going into a game versus a guy who's banged up, who hasn't been practicing, who hasn't played all season. Right? If Thielen does get in, how much is he actually going to play? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Might not be much. But the thing is, like those young wide receivers there in Carolina have actually been stepping up and playing pretty good. Xavier Leggett's been playing a lot better since Deontay Johnson was traded away. You've got Coker there who's been playing pretty good. The tight end, Tavian Sanders, has been playing pretty good there. So I don't know how much playing time Thielen's going to get in there because, if I'm Carolina, I want my young guys in there getting the playing time so I see what I have going into next season. So I don't expect a lot out of Thielen if he even gets to play in the game because, again, he's limited in practice all week. He's still listed as questionable. We don't know. Give me Jalen Waddle there, but we're not going to get a ton of production out of Jalen Waddle because we haven't all season. Look for 3 to 4 catches and 50 yards is what we're going to get. We're going to hope for more. He definitely has the potential for more, but that's kind of where we're sitting at with that. Now, Jalen Hurts or Kyler? All right. I mean, just off the top, Jalen Hurts has been playing. It's not just Jalen Hurts, but the Eagles have been playing great here as of lately. They're playing the Rams. The Rams are kind of a middle of the road defensive team. But what you need to know is you're going to have to score a lot of points. And Jalen's been doing. Here's where you get everything with Jalen. On the ground touchdowns. That extra bonus that you're getting with him. Like he had 0 passing touchdowns last week, but he had 1 rushing touchdown, 220 yards, 10 rushes for 39 yards and a touchdown. The week before that against Dallas, he had 56 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns. Jacksonville, 67 yards rushing and a touchdown. Cincinnati, 37 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns. The Giants, 22 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. And then he's passing for TDs all along there. The Rams are kind of your middle of the road team there. Now Kyler, he's got the Seahawks this week. And the Seahawks are, again, you're looking at a middle of the road offensive team. Or defensive team as far as giving up points. But we just haven't gotten a ton of production out of Kyler this year. Not that I really expected a lot of him this year, but we haven't got much. He did get you 2 rushing touchdowns last week. It had been a few weeks since he ran one in. He threw for 1. The week before that against Chicago, he had 54 yards passing. Right? He's going to have those games. He's got several games where he's under 200 yards passing this year. Just the production just has not been there. Give me Jalen Hurts. The Eagles have been playing great as of lately. Look for them to just kind of continue that. I do got the Eagles taking down the Rams tomorrow to continue their win streak. And it looks like we're kind of on a crash course for an Eagles Lions NFC Championship game. And I think that will be a fun game once we get to the playoffs. But yeah, give me Jalen Hurts, and then give me Jalen Waddle. So hope that helps you out, John, and hopefully it works. Right? The production just hasn't been there for Kyler this year, especially here as of late, and the production's been there for Hurts. One thing that we kind of thought we weren't going to see as much of this year was Hurts running in short touchdowns with Saquon there, but he's still getting his, and Saquon's getting his. And I think having Saquon there has actually helped him out here as of lately because they're not all tush push, right? All these touchdowns aren't all tush push touchdowns, which was how he was getting into the end zone before because they didn't really have that dog, that running back there. DeAndre Swift was okay the first part of the year last year, but then he showed his true colors, which is kind of what he's doing with the Bears this year. He started off rough, started playing good, hasn't been great here as of lately. DeAndre Swift's just not really a player that I like, but I do love Saquon Barkley. I do love Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown. Devonta Smith, I'm kind of starting to go down on because he just the production hasn't been there. He's burned. I'm a Devonta Smith owner. He's a guy that I believed in this year, and he just hasn't had that production this year. For whatever reason, he has not been producing this year. So, thank you, John, for the questions, man. I appreciate it. So let's kind of, until we get some more questions, I'm going to jump back into here. In this league, I got Kyler right now. But I've also got Sam Darnold. They're playing the Bears, a little bit of a tougher matchup for quarterbacks. I am going to go ahead and make the change, though. It is a tougher matchup, but Sam Darnold's just been playing better. He's not been as good as he was at the beginning of the season, but he's still been pretty good. He had a rough matchup against Jacksonville a couple weeks ago where he had 241 yards and 3 interceptions. But, we kind of returned to form a little bit last week against Tennessee, 246 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a rushing touchdown on top of that. Just week in and week out, the production is higher for Sam Darnold than it is for Kyler. So I'm going to make that move, and I'm going to go ahead and bench Kyler and play Sam Darnold there. I would like to play Kyler, but the production just hasn't been there. Jayden Reed, running back. I only get one running back in this league, and I got Saquon Barkley in that spot. Brock Bowers is my tight end. David Montgomery is my flex player. And then on my bench, speaking of Devonta Smith, I just noticed this. He's actually ruled out with a hamstring. So we won't be playing Devonta Smith this week. But again, we just haven't gotten much production out of him this year. Wish it was more, but we just haven't gotten it. Unfortunately, I got Jamar Chase on the bench because they're not playing this week. I do have Kareem Hunt and J.K. Dobbins on this team, but they don't find their way into the lineup when you got Saquon Barkley and David Montgomery, right? He's just a guy that's just going to sit there on my bench. He's not going to play. I love David Montgomery against the Colts. The Colts just aren't that great of a team. I'm expecting 70 yards rushing and 2 touchdowns out of Montgomery. Saquon Barkley is probably going to get you over 100 all-purpose yards, and at least 1 touchdown against the Rams is what I'm looking at for production for him this week. And I'm rolling with the Lions offense, the Lions defense in this league. They've been producing here as of lately. Playing pretty darn good. And here's a fun fact: they have an interception in every game this season. Interception in every game this season. Sacks in all but one game this season. But that one game that they didn't get that sack in was that Green Bay game where they were all over Jordan Love the entire game, and was in his face and hitting him. So the line and the Lions defense is rostered in Yahoo in 78% of leagues. It's actually down 4%. I don't know why anybody would drop them with them playing. They've got Indy and they got Chicago in the next 2 weeks. Those are 2 good matchups for that defense. And Chris Boswell's my kicker. Chris Boswell's been a great kicker this year, right? We can all agree this guy has just been doing nothing but just kicking bombs. He's scoring you a decent amount of points week in, week out. So, let me head on over to my next league. Again, if you guys got any questions, especially over there on X, feel free. Throw your questions in here, guys. I answer all questions that come through. Talk it through with you guys. Give you guys the best advice that I can. But just let me know if you're over here on YouTube, you haven't followed us over there on X, please go drop a follow over there. We would definitely appreciate it. And vice versa. If you're over there on X, drop a follow over here on YouTube for us. We definitely appreciate it. We're here every Saturday night between 10 and 11 o'clock Central Standard Time, answering all your start-sit questions. And then we're back again Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, just going over the week that was, answering all your start-sit questions pretty early in advance, but we're still answering them. Let's see. Over here, I got Baker Mayfield, which I love this week, playing against the Giants. Mike Evans supposed to be back this week. So, Baker's just been kind of a must-play every week. Jameson Williams, Jackson Smith and Jigba, Xavier Leggett are the wide receivers I have. Jahmyr Gibbs. Jonathan Taylor, I don't really like this week. So I might look to try and replace him. But I think I got a lot of guys that are out this week, to be honest with you. Jatavian Sanders, I have him starting at tight end. And right now, my flex, I got Tyrone Tracy. And yeah, this is a league where actually the only player that I can move into my lineup is Tony Pollard. Every other player I have is on a buy or out. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Amari Cooper, Devontae Smith is out. Kirk Cousins, Khalil Shakir, and then I have Tony Pollard. So do we want to play Tony Pollard? Spears isn't playing. Concussion. So Tony Pollard's going to be our lead back this week. Tough matchup against Houston. Coming off of back-to-back weeks where he's only had 9 rushes, 4 catches, 2 catches. So the production just hasn't been there the last couple weeks. The 2 weeks before that, the production was pretty good. But tough matchup against Houston. I don't know. I think I'm going to go ahead and if I do anything, it's Jonathan Taylor. Okay. He hasn't been. He's been okay. Last week, 24 rushes for 57 yards against the Jets. 1 catch for 3 yards. The week before that against Buffalo, he had 21 rushes for 114 yards, 13 for 48, 20 for 105 against Houston. So we do see that Houston does kind of give up a little bit. Now that's Jonathan Taylor. So I don't know if I'm going to go with Jonathan. I think I might go ahead and make the move and put Tony Pollard in. And yeah, I'm gonna put Tony Pollard in, and I'm gonna put Jonathan Taylor to my bench. That's just that Detroit defense is just they're good, and they make bad teams look bad in the culture of a bad team. I've talked about it a few times. I'll continue to talk about it as we come up against these matchups. So, but hey guys, I'm getting ready to head out of here. If we have any more questions, let me know. I'm going to post a short over there on YouTube with just, start sit questions. If you missed the live, go ahead and ask your questions here. We'll answer all of them as quickly as we can. Just make sure you give us plenty of time before the game start tomorrow to answer your questions. But thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely appreciate it. Let's get those dubs tomorrow, guys. Talk to you guys later. Deuces.